Okay, so I'm Matt. You'll all be pleased to hear that I've remembered to turn my light on today, so no chance of it going very dark towards the end. And I'm joined today by four guys who, three of them have been on the channel before. One of them's making his first appearance. So that's Phil, James, Dan, and Callum. How are you all?
Yep,
Good. Well, very well.
Good. Let's get straight into it then. We've all picked one to discuss each as per usual, and we're going to start with James, who's going to tell us the benefits of Poison Jab Alolan Muk.
Yeah, so I've cheated slightly. I've not picked a mon. I've picked an off-meta moveset or a non-recommended moveset. Alolan Muk is brokenly good in this cup. Everyone, I think almost every team has it. Skuntank is obviously an alternative if you need it, but it's really good. But if I'm going to run a poison type on my team, it has to beat all the fairies. Otherwise, what's a poison type for? And Snarl Muk gets kind of countered by the Charmers. They can switch in and beat it, admittedly at a shield deficit. It doesn't have the most reliable matchup with Azu. Azu can win twos if it goes straight Ice Beam, unless you have a bit of an energy lead or get some Dark Pulse baits or whatever. It's not super reliable. And if you're going to run a poison type and not beat the fairies, what's it for? I know it's a dark type and it counts as the psychics, but there's lots of other dark types in this that don't have that poison type. And I just so it's not so much about what Poison Jab Muk does. It's about what it. Well, it is, but it's about avoiding a pitfall that the Snarl version has.
Okay. Now it's go on. Sorry.
Oh, well, so one big advantage of Poison Jab is people don't expect it, and they plan for Snarl, and they switch Azumarill into it.
Yeah.
And that's game over.
Yeah. Callum, am I right in thinking that it was you that was saying that you're running Poison Jab as well?
I've been running it,
Yeah.
It's all right. It doesn't have the greatest matchups against the fairies in the one shield. It's still pretty tight. The Azu match is a bit better though. I'll give it that.
Yeah. That I completely see where you're coming from. I think you mentioned Skuntank as a potential alternative to as a poison jabber, but I think the big difference is in the Charmer matchup because the acid spray that makes the difference, doesn't it?
Yeah. So obviously I've dropped Sludge Wave because if you can't get enough poison damage out of Poison Jab, you were probably in the wrong matchup. Especially with the acid spray sort of helping it along.
Yeah. Now, my initial counter argument, and I don't know whether Phil and Dan as Snarl users will agree with. They may agree, they may disagree. I don't know. My initial thought is, you say your poison has to beat beat the fairies, but I'd settle for taking two shields off them. I don't know.
But you can't reliably do that. Snarl Alolan Muk doesn't reliably take two shields off all of the fairies, I don't think.
Yeah, either takes two shields or kills.
Is that true with Gramble?
Oh, okay.
Admittedly, not everyone's running Gramble.
That is a statement. That is true. Yeah.
I don't think you take a significant shield advantage off Gramble even, because I think it beats you in ones and then comes out with close combat.
Yeah. No, that's a very fair point. And I'm not running a Charmer, but I think I'm at the point where now, if I was to be running a Charmer, I think Gramble would be the one for that very reason, actually. So it's interesting that you say that. Phil, Dan, any comebacks at Poison Jab?
Poison Jab's really slow. I mean, I know you're relying on the acid sprays to build up the power of it, so you're getting them heavy hits from it. But one of the advantages of Snarl Muk is just the speed in which you can power them up, and you get to that sludge wave if you are against a Charmer or a fairy type, so we say. And Sludge Wave is a very, very heavy hitter. I'm not exactly sure on the numbers on it, but you're taking a huge chunk of damage if you're not taking a shield. So I think the speed of it is what I originally started with Poison on the same thought as you, thinking Poison Jab, it's a poison type. This is what I want to use. But just as far as the Dark type, I thought it's so quick, it's so versatile, and there are other poison types that I would prefer to use in that role for the pure poison, and sort of use the Muk as more of a versatile coverage for both the fairies and the Bronzongs, and and try and hit it.
I mean, Poison Jab Muk does still beat the Confusion users, I think. Bronzong gets a bit iffy, potentially. And when you say Poison Jab's slow, it's the same energy gain as Counter. It's
pretty quick.
It's not horrendous. It's not great. It's no Snarl, but very few moves are.
Yeah, I think it is. It never feels particularly slow to me. I think, certainly when I've come up against Poison Jab Muks, and I've used my Snarl Muk to counter switch it, then it feels slow.
Losing the mirror is a big thing, I find.
Yeah. But I certainly see the appeal in Poison Jab Muk, and I definitely think, were species clause not a thing, I'd definitely be running 2 Alolan Muks on my team with different movesets, 100%. Although I do see the appeal of Skuntank, and again, I'm not running it, but if I was running it, I think I'd try and squeeze Flamethrower onto there somewhere, just for that neutral hit in the sort of mirror with the dark poisons, and that's something that the Alolan Muk sacrifices, but it does pick up the acid spray, as you've pointed out. Have there been any other circumstances in which you've used acid spray and found significant uses for it elsewhere?
So it's disastrous in the mirror. You go for it in the mirror and realise that they're not going to shield anything, and you've just wasted 50 energy. I guess when you come out of the Azu matchup, you can generally acid spray the next thing. Although you have to, obviously, chances are whatever you bring in to the next matchup, assuming you've won switch advantage there, whatever you bring in, they're likely to switch out. So,
sure.
Did that debuff actually help you very much? It's pretty marginal. I feel like there've been some matchups where it's managed to kill by getting the acid spray debuff and then a dark pulse, but then would 2 dark pulses have done it? Maybe.
Yeah, because they're the same energy, aren't they? They're both 50, or is dark pulse 45?
Yeah, so I think it's 8 poison jabs for one, and then 7 for the next. And 7 for the next several, however many you get to.
Right, fair. Any other thoughts on Poison Jab? Anyone?
Could you not?
I was against it.
Regular Muk.
Sorry, Callum?
Could you not go Poison Jab, Kanto Muk, and Alolan Muk?
My problem with all of the non-dark poisons is that you lose really hard to the confusion users. I tried Tentacruel early on as a poison jabber, and I just couldn't make it work. People do. People have great success with it. I think double Muks is an interesting way to go.
Yeah, I certainly rate normal Muk. I started off with double Confusion, just because I liked the electric coverage on Hypno for Noctowl and Azumarill. Soon realised that, and it actually from playing Phil, that having double Confusion against teams that have double Dark Poison, it limits you too much. So I looked at Kanto Muk as a replacement there, but again, like James said, having already had Quillfish on my team, the Confusion weakness is big, and I don't want two of those weaknesses there. But certainly I think Kanto Muk has its benefits. Yeah.
If you're playing a numbers game, the Poison Jab wins more in 2 shields. So there is merit.
I guess the harder hitting fast move adds up over the course of a long drawn out matchup. I'm assuming Snarl wins more in zeros equal.
Yeah, zeros, yeah.
Because it gets to the big move.
If you are using it as a safe switch, though, you're then arguing the opposition's going to have a Snarl Muk or a Skuntank with Flamethrower. That's the only concern for me.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't mind losing the secondary matchup as much in this cup as in others. I feel like switch advantage. Sometimes switch advantage decides a match, but quite often losing that secondary matchup and taking a shield or getting some energy on something else just carries you over the line.
Yeah. It's not RPS like Forest was. As much.
That's better. Yeah, I agree with you there, James. Quite happy to lose that secondary matchup if it comes to it. Certainly, if I've not got Bronzong in the back. Sometimes, if I've got Bronzong in the back, I can be a bit more concerned about winning. But I think if you know what you've got, you play to the advantages of your team, don't you? So I think that's an important thing to consider. But speaking of poison jabbers, just before we move on to Phil's pick, which is Beedril, I want to ask you, James, when Beedril comes out, would you still run Poison Jab Alolan Muk, or would you then revert to Snarl?
It's a good question. I'm considering just not doing any tournaments out that start after the 20th. Because I feel like it changes enough of the meta that do I want to learn it again just for the sake of London's finest?
Do you think it changes the meta that much? I mean, I think a lot of us have sort of countered it by having something in mind that they're going to switch out already for Beedril.
I certainly have.
It changes it if you're running Poison Jab, Alolan Muk. I think that's my problem.
Well, yeah. I've got an idea what I'd change for that. I think it's, yeah.
So go ahead then, Phil. Beedril we're talking Drill Run Beedril here.
Yeah, because at the moment, 82 wins isn't enough. Again, I'm looking at 2 shields. So picking up an extra 15 with that Drill Run.
Wow.
You're talking Toxicroak. I mean, it's big. There are downfalls. The only counters it's really got are the confusion users.
Yeah,
just like any pure poison.
Yeah,
Noctowl takes it down.
Yeah, that was my next point. All the flyers. So you're looking at Crobat, Noctowl, Unpheasant, Tranquil. If anyone's running that.
Frostlass.
Yeah, Frostlass. There's a couple of ice users, like Glalie as well.
Quillfish.
No.
What?
No, surely not. I think it'll definitely replace Quillfish on my team.
Situationally, does I guess Drill Run give you some play against Bronzong, even though you're not winning that?
Yeah, exactly.
If you've got a bit of energy in the end game.
Yeah, same with Haunter as well. If shields are down, Drill Run to a Haunter.
Yeah. I think the Drill Run edition, I think, is it's the Muk and the A Muk and the Skuntank matchups where it's which are the key ones. Because then all of a sudden,
they're centre at the moment.
Yeah, and all of a sudden you're in the position whereas James was saying with Poison Jab Alolan Muk, not only are you beating all the fairies, but you're also beating the darks as well. Which in this instance they happen to be dark poisons, which is why Drill Run's there. And that sort of distinguishes the Beedril from the fighting types in terms of as a counter to the dark poisons. The fighters get shredded by the fairies, and it's really there isn't much that does that job to. Well, certainly, I think Quillfish and Tentacruel are the sort of things that partially fill that role at the minute, but nowhere near as reliably as Beedril.
Yeah, I think Tentacruel's bait dependent. Quillfish is very squishy, so can't get to the long game.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited or scared about Beedril
Sure.
Can you imagine what if you get 2 or 3 poison jabs before they switch in?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Are any of you guys running Quillfish or Tentacruel at the minute?
I've just started to use Quillfish, so
Just
a noob at the moment.
Well, I will be replacing Quillfish with Beedril if I do any tournaments beyond the 20th. And one thing I'm looking forward to, I don't know whether you're feeling the same way, Callum, is I feel like at the moment I can only use Quillfish in the lead. I feel very, very, very against switching Quillfish into anything.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to. I feel like Beedril's not gonna have that drawback against it. I feel like I can use Beedril as a switch in. So not only does it have the same matchups that I want from Quillfish, but it feels more versatile as well. I don't know whether that's anything that you've run into as a problem when using Quillfish.
Yeah, like you say, it is super squishy, isn't it? So in the wrong matchups, it's very useless. But in the right matchups, it's obviously has its merits, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Quillfish has got a great niche, like beating the fighters, beating Azumarill, the furries. So it fits a niche. It's just like you've got to land it.
It's just a
You need
niche.
switch advantage.
Yeah, it's just a niche that Beedril just does even better in.
Yeah.
Certainly now most Azus aren't running Ice Beam as well. Sorry, James, what were you going to say?
Oh, just I'm not a fan of the Quillfish Azumarill matchup. I don't think it's as clean a win as you'd like from a poison. And
No.
I think that's where Beedrill's really going to shine over it.
Yes.
That match looks a lot more straightforward.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. So what would your secondary move be on Beedril?
I was thinking about this. I mean, you've got X Scissor, which is spammy as it is. And then you've got Fell Stinger, which kind of does the same thing. Doesn't do as much damage, but it's ramping up that poison jab. You could plow through teams with it. You wouldn't really need Sludge Bomb, I don't think. Unless you want to use it as a closer, maybe.
But I think you're a lot of poison jabs getting to a Sludge Bomb.
Exactly.
Actually, is it 55 or 65?
It's 50, I think.
Okay, forget
So
what
again,
it is.
8 and 7 after.
Yeah, it'd be the same as Acid Spray and Dark Pulse on.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
So it's interesting. I mean, I've not checked any sims, so certainly with the Bulldoze that'll help you against Toxicroak, but it's not doing a great deal against Medicham. And I'd be tempted to look at Aerial Ace, just because I think in the vast majority of situations I would have thought, certainly against the Azumarill and Wigglytuff, your poison jabs are going to be what you're going to be relying on. Against the Dark Poisons, your Drill Runs are going to be what you're relying on. Against Toxicroak, you'll get away with Drill Run. Medicham is perhaps the other thing you'd want it to be. So I don't know. I mean, it might pick it up with X Scissor or Fell Stinger, but I think Aerial Ace is certainly worth a look. And another thing that does, I mean, I know Aerial Ace is a terrible move, awful move, shocking move. But if you are going to be caught up against the Noctowl, at least it's not resisted. I mean, there's always a debate as to whether you should plan for the worst case scenario, but it's something I always sort of take into account. Is that something you know anything about, Phil?
I'm just running it now. Medicham's still a loss, even with Aerial Ace.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we might see Medicham become the more prominent fighter then.
Potentially.
Is that with ice? Is that straight ice punches or psychics or?
Looks like psychic. 1 second, I'll go into a solo fight.
Yeah. I use
this is just it. Who's running Power Up Punch and psychic?
Yeah. Well, I think most of the point, who's going for the Power Up Punch on the Beedril?
Yeah, true. I've seen people talking about running pure fighting Medicham. So counter pup and dynamic.
Yeah, I've seen that a few times.
Those people might be crazy, but
In this cup, though.
yeah, specifically for this cup. I didn't understand it either.
Okay, a bit more info now. It does beat Ice Punch, Dynamic Punch. It's that Psychic. If shields are down, Psychic, there's no chance.
Yeah, I think you've got to accept that you're losing to Psychic Medicham either way. But I don't. Well, I've not really run into many Medicham so far, so I couldn't tell you what they're running. But I think all 4 moves on Medicham are sort of viable, aren't they? So there's no guarantee that they're going to be running Psychic. I think post Beedril maybe it will be more Psychic orientated. Who knows?
Okay, now then, this is an interesting set. 2 shields, Ice Punch and Psychic. It still wins. So Beedril still wins. So Erlace, there is merit.
Right.
There is merit. Interesting. Very interesting.
Something to consider there then.
What if the Medicham's are running Psycho Cup?
No Medichamps are running Psycho Cup. No Medichamps.
Well, yeah, that's it. If the Medicham's running Psycho Cup, it's losing to Alolan Muk.
Just say GG's trainer.
Yeah. Do you know what though? I've run Psycho Cup Medicham in the past.
Did you win with it though?
I had mixed results with it. It got me to the final of regionals season 1, and then it caused me to lose the final. So,
Ouch.
yeah. But it swung mirror matches. It swung not mirror matches. It swung matches against Altaria along the way because of the faster ice punches. So, in situations where the speed is necessary, it's fine. But I don't think it's for this cup. But
And then if you're relying on it to do ice damage fast, maybe don't pick a fighting Psychic.
Yeah, pick Frostlass.
yeah. I mean, I'm a much better player now than I was back then.
Sure. No. Sorry.
Aren't we all?
It wasn't commentary on your season 1 regional. It was like a general. I don't
Yes.
think that's the way to use.
I've seen that footage. It's still quite impressive, Matthew.
That footage. It's horrible. Anyway, well, let's move on then. So, Beedril beats Azumarill. Talking of things that beat Azumarill, when Danny was on my channel doing this particular format, I still never want to say the name. I didn't really think about that when I named this series. But anyway, Danny talked about Venusaur as potentially having a hard counter to Azumarill. Then I raised the prospect of Ivysaur with Return to hit the Dark Poisons, just as an extra bit of coverage. Since then, I've thought about Amoonguss, because it's got the moves that you wouldn't expect grass types to have. It runs Feint Attack, Foul Play, and then either Grass Knot or Sludge Bomb. And that the Dark coverage takes away the whole I'm walled by Bronzong. It takes away that fear, which is huge. I don't think it beats Bronzong, but if you get a bit of an energy advantage, maybe. Frostlass all of a sudden has to look out for it. You're still being walled by Azumarill, by the Dark Poisons. I mean, they're still beating you. But it's just, if you are struggling against Azumarill, which doesn't really have many hard counters in this cup that people are running. I mean, Tentacruel is about the hardest one. I mean, Beedril will become a pick as well. But something to consider, I think. And I know, Dan, you've used it a little bit. Is that right?
Yeah, I had to test out a bit. With what you say about Bronzong, though, it can beat it just about.
Right.
It's close, and it is very close to the wire, and yeah, you've got to really spam that. I think I was using the Leaf Blade just to try and hit something quick, because I was running it with Feint Attack, Leaf Blade, and Poison Move. I'm not sure. I wasn't running it with Dark Pulse. Not Dark Pulse.
Foul play.
Foul Play. No.
Oh, really?
But I did manage to beat a Bronzong with it. I thought it was actually quite good. It surprised me when we first spoke about it, because I'd not ever played with one before. And yeah, it was quite quick and versatile. Does get hurt along the way, though.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And there ain't a lot left after that Bronzong match, to be honest. That Bronzong match.
No. And I think it's got that dark poison, the grass poison dual type in, which is nice because, like similar to Venusaur and Bell, it's going to resist the play roughs from Azumarill. So even though you're doing Feint Attack damage as the fast move, which is not great, but even though you're doing that resisted damage, you're still resisting the charge moves from the Azumarill long enough to get to the charge moves that are going to be dealing the damage to it.
How worried are you about Ice Beam Azumarills, though? I feel like it's about 50-50 in the ones I've faced.
Yeah. So it's bulkier than Venusaur. It's similar in bulk to Bronzong, actually. So it's pretty bulky. So you can. It's not like Venusaur, for example, where an Ice Beam to the face is a almost fatal blow.
Yeah, it can take one bad luck for that.
Yeah, you can chew an Ice Beam. I appreciate I might have sprung the Among Us pick as a surprise to a certain extent in this call, but has anyone got any other thoughts on Among Us? Phil's face says it all.
I'm just saying, as a wide meta coverage, it's not picking up many other things.
No.
The Ice Beam Azumarill's not too bad, is it?
I mean, you've got to land 2 Grass Knots and it's got to land 2 Ice Beams, so it's...
Yeah.
If it's your Azumarill counter.
Yeah.
That's not great. I guess I'm back to, why would you run a poison type that can't beat the fairies? And I appreciate it beats the other fairies.
It can beat Wiggly, can't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it beats the Charmers fine. Yeah. Yeah.
I think Azu's the most common fairy.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think it beats Azu even with Ice Beam. You can't give it a bubble, too many bubbles to.
No.
Oh,
Have we lost James?
I think we've lost James. Yeah.
He warned us beforehand.
He did. Oh, he's back. Sorry, James. You just cut out there for a split second. You were about to divulge.
It looks like it loses just the equal energy Azu matchup in all shield scenarios.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If Among Us shields once and Azu doesn't shield, it wins. But
that's not an ideal thing for a counter to have.
That's not great.
Okay.
That's with Grass Knot though, so maybe Sludge Bomb does a bit more. No, it doesn't.
No.
You get Azu slightly lower if you run Sludge Bomb in the ones. Actually, you pick up the 2s with Sludge Bomb.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I think running a grass type in this is difficult, but if you just so happen to be weak to, really weak to Azumarill, wanted a hard counter but didn't want to be weak to Bronzong, it's probably about as good as you'll get. I mean, maybe at that point maybe you're on hit now. I don't know, but
a hard Azumarill counter that isn't weak to Bronzong.
Yeah.
Like Poison Jab Alolan.
I knew it was going there.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Literally what it's for.
Yeah. Fair enough. I think that's the nail in the grass type coffin. No. Quite all right. Dan, just save me. Any other reason to use Among Us?
Surprise factor.
Surprise factor.
There is that.
Yeah. But
No one sees a mushroom coming.
No one sees. Yeah, sort of clutching at straws there. Okay, so that seems to be the nail in the Among Us coffin. Let's move on before things get silly. Another poison type. Callum, do you want to tell us about Golbats?
Yeah, it's useful. It beats the fairies fairly easily. It beat Azu in the 2s, picks up Hypno, Alolan Muk, Medicham, Skuntank, Toxicroak, all the grasses, and Claydol. So, has its merits. Though, admittedly, a lot of them are close.
Sorry, did you say Hypno and Claydol?
It does, yes.
Is that in the one?
In the ones, yeah.
Is that mud? That's Mudslap Claydol, I guess.
Yeah, well, Mudslap Claydol for this meta, yeah.
But which I guess is what people are running in this if they're running Claydol.
Hypno's close, very, very close. I mean, you have to have a decent ID Golbat, but it can get the win.
Do you need to get a bait or anything?
And with a bait, obviously, yeah. But
okay.
You can pick up Hypno. A lot of its wins are tight.
Sure. I feel like if I was the Hypno user, I'd be so terrified of Shadow Ball. I don't think I'd even consider not shielding, to be honest. Even then, I'm surprised that picks up the win against Hypno. Yeah, that's really surprising. Maybe it's worth some. I sort of ruled it out quite quickly because I liked Noctowl so much, but
it loses to Noctowl, which is obviously another downside. It's ranked 9th overall, which I was quite surprised at.
Fair. So where are the differences between it and Noctowl then? Where's the
Noctowl's got the normal typing, isn't it? Which I think benefits, and Noctowl's got the bulk as well, which is again.
Yeah. So I guess against the Charmers, Golbat sort of is where it carves its niche out. I would have thought.
It gets the poison fang pretty quick, so that's.
Yeah, probably less good than Noctowl against things like Munchlax and the Lickies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I presume, is that something you're running on your team then, Golbat?
I haven't run it as yet, but I'm looking to run it later in the month. So.
Okay. Is that so? What would you change on your team to sort of? Presumably, you wouldn't run that and Noctowl, presumably.
No. I had been running Noctowl, so that's probably what I'd switch.
Sure. And are there any other changes to your team that you'll make as a result of that sort of changeover in coverage, or is it more?
I think it pairs fairly well with Bronzong, so I think that's sort of a line I'd like to go with.
Right, fair. What about you guys? Any other thoughts on Golbat?
I think if you're pairing it with Bronzong, you're very, very hard to run Charmers against. So that's encouraging.
Yeah.
For some teams are very charm dependent to beat. I don't know if you've got a dark type or a fighter as the third in that line. Against a team with no good anti-fighter apart from a charmer, you could be lining your fighter up to run Riot. That could work.
Yeah.
It makes it hard to run a fighter, I think, and a charmer against you with that pair.
Yeah, fair. Oh, of course, it's good anti-fighter as well.
Yeah. And I think I know I personally run Nightshade on my Noctowl for the Bronzong matchup. I think I'd give anything to have Shadow Ball on Noctowl. But yeah, but having the Shadow Ball on Golbat gives it a big hit against Bronzong as well.
When you say you give anything, would you give up being weak to confusion to get Shadow Ball? Because if so, you should run Golbat. Like that's the.
Yeah, actually, maybe I would. Yeah, maybe I should. Yeah,
it seems plausible.
Yeah.
Why haven't I looked at it?
Well, I'll tell you why I preferred Noctowl. It's because of the Dark Poisons. The two moves on Golbat, Poison Fang and Shadow Ball, they sort of leave you a bit stuck against the Dark Poisons.
Okay.
Have you done any practice with Golbat, Callum?
I've done a few practice battles, yeah. if you get caught out, trapped against the confusion, you're in a bit of bother. But then, if you can go into a Bronzong with a Shadow Ball, it swings and roundabouts really.
Yeah, and what the dark poisons have they been an issue?
They're a big issue.
Yeah,
but you get trapped against one of them or a Noctowl, and you're just waiting to go down, aren't you? Really.
Have you considered return on Golbat? As that big hit on the dark.
It's just a shout, isn't it? But what do you scrap?
Well, I guess at that point you're losing the big Shadow Ball, I guess, aren't you? At that point, so you can't lose the Poison Fang really, because that's your distinguishing feature of a Noctowl, isn't it?
And if you're up against Wiggly, you've got an awful long way to go to get to a return, and you can't Shadow Ball it.
Yeah.
Or any normal type, I guess, including when you're not resisting.
Yeah. Is that the face of someone who's running a sim, Phil?
Yeah. Return beats Muk with a bait.
Oh, okay.
That's Poison Fang and Return.
Yeah, Poison Fang and Return. Yeah.
Yeah. And
are you going to be able to bait? I mean,
you don't shield. If you're the Muk, you don't shield.
No, you don't shield.
You're not shielding a Golbat, are you?
That's great, because that means you go straight return, knowing that, and you. What is it? A one-hit kill from there?
No.
Probably a few.
With the wing attacks to get to it.
You need a couple more wing attacks.
That's.
But then the Muk's probably going to get a third Dark Pulse.
Right.
It was 5 wing attacks to a Poison Fang, I think. So it's pretty quick.
Yeah, I think that's
Poison Fang would do it there.
I think that's the problem with Return, isn't it? It always feels like a nice option to swing a matchup that you perhaps would be struggling with, but because of its lack of general coverage and its high energy cost, the cost of giving up another move is always too big on those things, isn't it? It'd be interesting. I know we've not really had this situation before in a Sylph Cup. If there's ever an option to run something with Return on that gives it a stab boost, something like Return on Porygon 2, for example, or Porygon Z.
That hurts.
Yeah.
We did an ultra battle, didn't we, Callum?
Yeah. Oh yes. That hurts.
Shout out to Nick.
Yeah. No, so yeah, Golbat, interesting shout. Any more final thoughts on that?
It's top of the PV Poke switch-ins, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So with a bit of an energy lead, it can hit most things. So I can see the merit.
I guess that's to some extent that's based on one shield matchups and baits, which is
baits.
Where things like Hypno, especially with the energy lead, it makes that a bit cleaner, I guess. Yeah.
In a clean fight, the way to play the Hypno is to not throw. That extra confusion. If you're the Hypno, extra confusion, instead of throwing the Thunder Punch, wins it for you.
I thought for a second, but I thought you meant just to go straight wing attack versus Hypno.
Yeah, that would be great.
I was like, that sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, so even if it's a successful bait, you can still win. Just don't throw the Thunder Punch, just confusion down.
Right, because it doesn't get to 2 charge moves, even if... Well, presumably it gets to 2 Poison Fangs.
Yeah, but that's not going to do anything to you.
That's fine. You've shielded one. You tank the second.
Yeah.
You need to be pretty confident that you didn't switch in too slow to tank the second one. You've got to be really sure that's not a Shadow Ball.
Yeah. If in a clean fight is what I was saying. But
right, yeah. Sorry, yeah, from a lead.
And if the Shadow Ball hits, it's going to hurt pretty much most things, isn't it? So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, nothing like Shadow Ball really, except the normals.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's perhaps. Sorry, Dan and Callum the cameras have just switched places, and it just really creeps me out.
Sorry, I jumped out for a second, then it kicked me out completely.
Oh right, no worries. That just really freaked me out. I was just looking down at my notes, and then I saw something change. I was like, "What?" Well, Well, no, that's Golbat's. I perhaps haven't given it as much thought as it deserves, to be honest. I think it's certainly got some really interesting matchups. Speaking of things that I've not given much thought, I think Dan's pick takes that to a whole new level. Do you want to tell us about your pick, Dan? Can you hear us, Dan?
Yep, sorry, I can hear you. Yeah, sorry, just a bit glitchy on me. Yeah, I'm choosing number 206, which is Dunsparce. I know most people laugh when you say Dunsparce, but I think in this cup it really does do a job. Depending on what you want to use it for, it's never going to be your tank. It's never going to hold you into a battle, but the bites really do hurt. And if you actually look at the matches that you can win over one shield, bringing it in towards the end, you know, you can take out a Flash Slash, you can take out a Hypno just about. You get the Bronzong, obviously, because of the bites. It's close with Lanoon, and you can also take out a Claydol, which is quite nice as well. And it's quite close on a Lickitung, so I've actually found it really fun to use. I went through, for a secondary dark, I went through a lot of different choices and pretty much tried everything, to be honest, with a dark fast move, just to try and hurt Frostlass more than anything else and give me that little bit on Bronzong. And with not having an A-Rat, I found Dunsparce to be really useful and good, and nobody expects it.
No, there's that. So I was going to ask you what fast move you run on it, but you've obviously answered that with Bite. It's interesting that you say about having something to chip away at Frostlass a bit faster, because I ran into a Frostlass with my A-Rat today, and it's not a great matchup.
No.
Like the crunches aren't that fast. The avalanches are that fast. You can only take, I think something like, maybe something that's doing some decent fast move damage is the way to go there. I don't know if it's Dunsparce, but you're part way to convincing me.
I mean, Dunsparce, you're only ever going to get one charge attack on it. You really are. It's either Drill Run or Rock Slide, I think it is, and you're only ever going to get it once. It is all about the fast move and hitting them bites as much as you can.
But as far as charge moves go, that's pretty good coverage. Rock Slide's a great move. Noctowl's not going to enjoy that one bit. Bronzong's not going to enjoy a Drill Run, although it's not going to enjoy the bites either, is it? Yeah. So, like, how do you? Is it something you lead? Because it's one of those things where it's very much matchup dependent. How do you go about ensuring that?
I never lead with it. It's usually my closer, if I'm dead honest. It's not something I bring in as the lead. It's something I switch into if I'm stuck in a jam. And again, a lot of the time I don't even bother with the charge move. I'm just going for the fast move constantly. As I say, it takes a long time to get there, but it chips away at things. I don't think it'd be good as a lead because when it gets hit, it doesn't last long. Comes up against a Toxicroak and you've gone in seconds.
Yeah.
I feel like you could save a shield for it and keep it in the back as a little surprise, and you could take a lot of matches that way. And the shield just to give it time to get through enough bites to do the job.
Yeah, I feel like the Charmers work sort of in a similar way as well. This cup, if you can save a Charmer to the end and not use either of your shields, and in doing so, trying to encourage your opponent not to use any shields. If you can go into the final matchup in a 2-shield scenario still, charm users and bite users and stuff like that are sort of inherently at an advantage. So I guess Dunsparce could have some play in situations like that. Phil, Callum, any thoughts?
That shield advantage.
Sorry, Callum?
I'm praying he sells it to me. I've got a rank 4 shiny, so I'll happily run that.
I honestly think you test it. I mean, I love my shiny version of it. It's really nice.
Go on, Phil.
Here's a number for you. In that shield advantage, save a shield. Say you've got 1, they've got nothing. You win 128 out of 135 matchups.
Oh, what are the 7? Are they 7 fighters?
Medicham is a close one.
Yeah, okay.
It actually beats Toxicroak.
What?
Because of that drill run.
Drill run, of course, yeah.
Get to it though.
Yeah, because if it shields the mud bomb, it gets the drill run.
Yeah.
And besides that, furries. Just the furries.
Oh, because there is the bites. Yeah, okay.
Wow.
Wow.
You're going to be running Dunsparce, I'm telling you.
Yep. Yep.
Hmm.
The only other one is A-Rat. Because
Yes.
A-Rat resists it as well.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I guess A-Rat's putting out normal damage, whereas something like Alolan Muk's putting out mainly dark damage, isn't it? So, and then Alolan Muk and Skuntank will both lose to the drill run as well, won't they? Yeah. Wow. Well, let's leave it on there then. On that shock note that Dunsparce is actually the meta god. Perhaps if run alongside something like a Celio or a Licky or a Munchlax that can
Spam out.
yeah, that can really spam out the charge moves and encourage your opponent to shield. Perhaps that could be real dangerous actually. Interesting. Giving me a lot to think about there, Dan. Oh dear. Well, thank you for all joining and putting your thoughts forward. It's much appreciated. Really.
Cheers for having us, Matt.
No, thank you.
It's been good. Really looking forward to how the meta is going to change when Beedril comes out, if indeed it just does change at all. So it'll be an interesting one to look back at the end of the month to see whether anything we've said takes shape or whether it just stays exactly the same. So I know, as Dan was saying, I've built my team with the Beedril change in mind, and some people will have, some people won't have. So it will be interesting. I'm really looking forward to it. There we go. Well, catch you all later. Thanks again.
Cheers.
Cheers, I'll see you all
Cheers, guys.
again.
Nice to see
Take
you all.
care.
Yeah.